Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about compression. Compression is a super important tool for live and recorded musicians, but it's one that is really misunderstood, and we get a lot of questions about it, so I'll try to answer some of those for you today. What is compression? Well, in order to understand compression, we've got to understand dynamic range. Your dynamic range is the range of your dynamics. It's how big a distance there is between your softest soft note and your loudest loud note. If your dynamic range is too big, if my softest soft is too quiet and my loudest loud is too loud, I'm going to be hard to mix. So if I'm playing with a group, if I'm playing too quiet on my quiet notes, nobody can hear me. If I'm playing too loud on my loud notes, I'm blasting people out. If I want to lay nicely in that mix, we're going to have to compress or shrink my dynamic range. My quiets are going to have to get louder. My louds are going to have to get quieter. Now, because we not only change volume, we also change timbre when we're playing. Sometimes you want that timbre of a soft note, but you want it to be able to push through the mix. And you want that timbre of a loud note, but you don't want it to be poking out so much. Because the question is, why use compression at all? Why not just use your right hand for control? It's mostly what I do. But sometimes you've got an effect like a wah pedal that's really peaky. And I'm going to let you hear something with some compression, or actually first without compression and then with some compression. This clip is from the Joe Denizone Electric Violin Concerto. And you can hear I'm using a wah pedal. The first clip, it's really poking out quite a bit. The second one, it's laying much nicer in the mix. So you could see in there where there's a little window, you could see where the volume level was of the playing, and you can see a little white line at the top dropping down. That's actually like a little magical dude in there with a fader who's pulling his fader up and down to affect that compression. Let's look at that one more time. So you can see where that white line's coming down. That's like the little magical dude in there with a fader, okay? So we can look at this picture of a typical compressor here, which you were seeing in that clip. Let's talk about what the settings are on that compressor. The first one is threshold. That's the point at which volume reduction begins. So say if I'm mixing somebody who's playing the violin, I will take their normal playing volume and say that's hitting at minus 20 dB on the scale. And I will set my threshold to about that. So their normal playing volume doesn't get compressed at all, but as they go above that playing volume, then the little magical dude will know to pull down the fader when they exceed that threshold. So the threshold is just where volume reduction begins. The ratio is how much volume reduction there is. And it could be 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 5-to-1. And it has to do with how many dB you exceed the threshold and then how much volume reduction there is. The attack is how long it takes the compressor to kick in. Now, why would I want that? Well, what if I want, if I'm doing something, maybe I'm chopping, I want that bite to come through just instantaneously, maybe a couple milliseconds. I just want that to just poke through before the compressor pulls it down. Or maybe I want that attack to be super fast. I don't want anything poking out. Okay, so that's an artistic decision you make. That's attack. And then release is how long does it take that compressor to let go after I go back below the threshold. So in a lot of cases, you can sort of leave attack and release where they are. You're mostly going to be messing with threshold and ratio, especially if you're fairly new at this. So this is just a chance to give you a look at that graphic again. And you can see in the little window on the right where the volume is where I'm playing, and you can see the white line at the top that's volume reduction. Okay, so that is the intro to intro to compression, and I hope that helps you. If you got questions, dump them in the comments section. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel here, and you can see some other videos that we've got here. We'll see you next time.